Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It looks like, okay, they actually remade that game, so I'm a bit of a liar. We're not going to be jumping right in. We're going to wait for them to remake
Liar,
that.
Rich.
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry.
Liar.
But Ravage, let's break down what happened in the end of the game that we just did see.
Well, we just saw an overwhelming amount of pressure coming out from Release on top of Aware, and Aware is putting themselves in a position where they are in serious trouble of losing their spot to go to the LAN. They really need to pull out all the stops in this next game to at least guarantee the tiebreaker match with Epsilon. They put themselves in a bit of a pickle here, dropping game one. At least Epsilon had some bit of a insulation there early on, as they were able to get that initial win nice and early. So the second match, didn't mean quite as much. Aware though, gonna have to play for their lives right now. Literally.
Let's take a quick peek at those division standings really quick. These aren't up to date with the matches that have happened tonight, but I'll give you a little bit of an idea who you are going to see in Ohio. Looking at it right now, though, Ravage, who is safe?
Who we see safe right now, Elevate has, with the Epsilon dropping one game to XGN, Elevate actually managed to secure 5th place. So that's big for them. They are going to be in the 5th place. XGN has also secured their right to go to NOLA. They are going to be with 8 points. There's going to be a 4-way tie for first place. Actually, 3-way for second place, because Release is going to take that first spot with 9 points right now, taking that win. If they can win out 2 here, they have guaranteed themselves a spot as a number 1 or number 2.
Which would be absolutely big because they will have that seed that will give them a bye. We are jumping into picks and bans though already. We are going to see Aware picking up that Giannis and Shibalanka. That's some global pressure with some serious late game potential, but no joke over on the Release Gaming lineup at this point either. They've picked up their support and it's going to be Kepri.
Yeah, a little bit of a switcheroo there, as we're going to see the X-Ball and Giannis go on the side of Aware for this game. Hal, Zhonghui, Guan Yu, and Athena going to be taking out some global pressure, as well as a lot of healers coming out the meta. Freya going to be picked up on the other side of Release to combat that X-Ball.
Or actually, no,
they're not going to go with that.
Going to return that global pressure. Going to return the global pressure. Definitely a smart move there. Giannis is scary. He is a scary god. He can do a lot of shenanigans in any lane at any time. Thor will give them a way to kind of combat that. He can use his ultimate to dunk on in. I can't believe that Elevate only managed to snake by. I'm going to go back to those division standings for just a second as we go through these picks bans. Elevate, they won New Orleans. They won it. They looked really strong, too, throughout the entire thing. And they showed just how strong of a team they are in the LAN environment. But when they actually got to the Pro League, they had their fair share of problems. A lot of those problems probably because of they were missing some players, things like that. But now that we know they're going, how do you think they'll actually perform at the event?
I think Elevate will be okay. I have confidence in their ability to perform at LANs. The issue being, though, is that they looked pretty bad at UMG. There's no other way to put it.
But they didn't have Pacho, did they?
They didn't have El Chapo, but I mean, I've been talking with a lot of those guys. I mean, they don't look as hot though coming in the roster as a deficit. He's a very good carry. I guess it was more of a deficit at losing that presence in the jungle. I feel I don't know if Elevate's going to be able to rise to the level that they need to be at LAN. I don't know if they're going to be able to meet the pressure that XGN and Release are bringing to the table right now, as those teams have looked exceptionally strong.
XGN really changing the entire, just changing the landscape for this season. That team initially being the lineup that won at NOLA, then they all dropped. They ended up all dropping. There was a little bit of a thing that went down. That team waiting to come back into competitive later, but XGN able to absorb the Denial PC roster, and those boys have been performing very well. Jumping back to this game, though, we are going to see Release about to lock in their last 2 gods, and they have a pretty decent comp. We're going to see a Kepri, a Thor, a Sun Wukong, and potentially, okay, there's the Agni, there's the Medusa. They're looking pretty good early game, and they also have they have a decent amount of global pressure, and a comp that can do a good amount of damage in team fights. You have Agni and Thor both going to be able to get stuns on and going to be able to let the rest of the team get into the back line and damage who they want to damage. And you have some setup with the Khepri Abduction and Sun Wukong. Just so mobile and has the cudgel. That's a lot of poke.
The thing you're going to see with this composition that's coming out from Aware is they have a good setup here with the Hades and the Awilix. So you have the ability for Willix, once Sylvanas goes in with the Wrath of Terra, get the Willix pull in and then pop the Pillar of Agony, and you have a good little setup going on there.
That's a combo
put that
if I've
down
ever seen
with
one.
You have that with the global pressure on the X-Ball and the Giannis to kind of meet with that Thor. You have a really good comp coming on here because, you know, the Thor is not going to quite be able to meet the global pressure, like team global pressure, I should say, from the Giannis and X-Ball. So I think Aware's done a really good job on their team comp here. But from a pure boxing standpoint and pure, are they going to be able to get the picks? I really think that Release has done a great job in regards to, hey, Thor Wall, Agni Bomb, Medusa Petrify, they have a lot of lockdown.
Yeah, and we've also seen Release, too. They like to come out hot. They're a very aggressive team, and this comp is going to allow them to do it. You're going to see Medusa and Khepri in that duo lane just going to be pushing Shibalanka into that tower with Sylvanas. Sylvanas, though, not a joke in that laning phase by any means. He can clear a wave like no one's business, but you got to favor the Khepri Medusa there, in my opinion. Sun Wukong, also incredibly effective at that laning phase, but we are seeing Candyman going to be able to return quite a lot of pressure there with the Hades because the Giannis is going to be in the mid matched up against the Agni. And we saw that matchup already tonight in that mid lane.
Yeah, in some cases, that matchup does go to the Agni. Like I told you, I mean, the Agni does have the ability to put a lot of pressure on that Giannis in lane. Because Giannis gets in this awkward position where it's really hard to hit the unstable vortex and get that off appropriately. So we could see... I really think that lane pressure probably goes to the Agni and the Thor just because they're going to be able to have that much more CC on the Giannis and the Awilix. Giannis and Awilix not a pair to be frowned upon either. There's a lot of kill potential there with the Feather Step, the knockups coming out from Awilix, as well as the Portal and the Unstable Vortex on Giannis. So they have a lot of good roam. So the nice thing here is that any pressure that Thor's going to be able to bring to the table is going to be matched by Giannis ulting and the mobility of the Awilix.
I really want to see that Sylvanas Reign of Terror into the Awilix Roids, into that Pillar of Agony. I want to see that combo so bad. It's going to be so funny if it goes off, and we're going to see some serious bloodshed. I'm curious to see if they'll be able to pull it off, though. It's not an easy thing to pull off.
It's not. It's not at all. The problem that we're going to see coming out of Aware's comp, I think, is going to be the fact that X-Ball and the Sylvanas may get out pushed here early by the Khepri and the Medusa, and that lane pressure might actually force the hand of Giannis and Awilix to rotate, right?
Oh, yeah, and then that's just going to give Agni that much more room to push.
Yeah, to push on the lane, as well as Thor having the ability to get over and disengage. I don't think that Medusa and Khepri and Gustavi and Cray are going to push enough to really make a rotation worth it. It's going to have to be to relieve pressure is what's going to end up happening. There's going to be a lot of ability for disengagement from Medusa and Khepri.
Yeah, that's definitely a good call. Yeah, you have Medusa's B and you have the X from Khepri that it's going to be able to get them both out of there instead of getting aggressive, but also does give them that potential to step right up into the face of Shibalanka and into the face of Sylvanas very early on. And we'll just have to see how they actually do end up using it there. But like you said, if they manage to pull that rotation early, that's going to give them that extra push in the mid lane and not hurt them in the duo lane. But it may become a necessary thing. It may become a very necessary move. Solo lane. Let's talk about it just a little bit. We've seen this matchup, and it's gone both ways. We've seen it go both ways, but hasn't Soup Kitchen kind of not had great matchups against the Hades when he's on the SWK?
Yeah, Soup Kitchen's been having a little bit of trouble in the Sun Wukong, but it looks like he really scaled well in the last game, and he did well against the solo deck. Be interested to see how he does against Hades. Hades does have that initial wave clear that can push the lane up pretty forcefully on the Sun Wukong, but the Sun Wukong with the Bluestone eventually moves into a point where he clears the wave with the Cudgel. So as long as Soup Kitchen can put pressure on the Hades nice and early, and the Hades doesn't make the mistake of death from blowing into the wave to clear, we're going to see Soup Kitchen be able to come out probably after level 6 or 7 to maybe take that lane. But initially, Hades does have the better wave clear.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Soup Kitchen Sun Wukong. All right, early on, he's going to see Candyman. They're not going to do anything here. We are going to see Candyman maybe get one auto attack off, and that is exactly what's going to happen. But we're going to see Khepri moving on in here. Damage may be found. Xing takes the brute force of that attack, but definitely nothing too punishing. We're going to get a lot of aggressive wards down here for sure.
We're going to see the wards go down here nice and early. Both teams looking for the aggressive wards. That's different. That's different from what we've seen with XGN versus Epsilon. XGN actually opting not to go for any wards to start off the game. They weren't really faring in an invade of any type, but we are going to see some wards going down on the blue buff, both aggressive and defensive on the blue buff of Willix and Hades here. Obviously, Hades going to be stunted pretty severely if there's an invasion there. A little bit of a potential for invade coming out from the Sun Wukong as well as with the Thor. So a lot of potential there for the steal. So
yeah, we're going to see
make
Aware
sure
gaming.
that's...
Yeah, Aware, though, they are in a position where they can take this mid-Harpies camp right off the bat. We're going to see Sylvanas do just that. Now they're going to drop back for the buffs.
And we've seen that quite a bit. Willix making sure that, obviously, it's going to take a little bit longer. The Hades initial clear going to be a little bit slower. They actually opted to take that blue buff first and then go to the speed buff. So they're making sure that Hades... They're trying to take away any potential for an invade there.
Yeah, they really want to make sure that Hades has as much of an advantage as he can, but we're going to see Xing right off the bat moving into that solo lane too. Going to try to turn the scales there in their favor. Cray and Elevate, we're going to see a game pause from Xing right now. But yeah, no, Cray and Gustavi do get back into lane really quick, and we're going to just see how much pressure they're actually able to put on in the duo lane. Like you said, if they're able to put on enough, they may be able to pull a Wheelix and Giannis out of lane and give Agni a little bit extra momentum. And I actually think that might be what's on Xing's mind here as he does go into that solo lane with Sun Wukong.
Yeah, Xing is going to look to put some pressure here on the Hades. They don't want Hades to snowball at all or have any potential to roam going into the mid game, into the mid camps, or to the mid lane itself. So you don't want to see that Pillar of Agony nice and early, especially when you're dealing with the fact that you have, if Agni dashes away and then Hades comes in with Death from Below and Pillar of Agony with no escape, it's almost a guaranteed kill at that point. And especially if Khepri can get is in the mid lane as well. If you... it's just hard. It's just hard to get away from the Pillar of Agony after these people have expended their escapes, so they don't want to see him roam early.
Yeah, that's definitely for sure. We're going to check really quick, see what this pause is about. My technical director is hot on that. Soup Kitchen DC'd. Thank you, Ethan. So I could have actually just looked at that on the screen, but you know what? You're an angel. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at the buffs here. Obviously, it's hard looking at it through the webcam.
Oh yeah, you're still looking at it through the webcam?
System we've hooked up.
Yeah, wait, I forgot you were looking at it through the webcam. I can speed through this pause. Oh, it looks like there's actually going to be a remake here.
Yeah, okay.
Jump right to the end there.
Before 3 minutes.
All right, yeah. Okay. So, we are going to see a remake. While that is happening, though, we're going to jump to a quick commercial break. We'll let the players jump into game. We'll let them get everything set up. And then we'll jump right back into it. We'll see you when we return.